Hey ho, let's go. And thank you to our friend Todd for texting me, telling me we're supposed to get started. Welcome to the show this week.
Hey, just tune in and shut up.
Can I take a look at a few of the top free agents at Baker's dozen or so hitting the MLB net market soon? And we're also going to discuss the contemporary era Hall of Fame voting coming soon. But as we always do, we begin the show by asking you the question, where would you rather be than right here? Boom! Right now, we got so dang caught up in our 30-second pre-show meeting that we didn't realize it was 8 o'clock and 8 seconds. You are looking live.
We start when the fuck we want to start.
There you go.
And the rest of you people are going to just deal with it.
We
change the night that we do this every week. So
fashionably late.
No, we start on time.
Wednesdays. We've been on Wednesday for a while.
For those that know us, expecting us to be on time, you're giving us a lot of credit.
You were in hair and makeup. I can't speak for that.
I was in hair and makeup.
With that, you are looking live at our split studios. This is Fantasy Baseball Now, episode 63, the Gene Upshaw edition. Here for our show, part of the Ball9.com podcast network. I am Sean. This is Mike.
They could use them.
We could use a lot.
It is episode 63, in addition to the contemporary era Hall of Fame ballot with our great friend at Not Guy Eddie, which is going to be a great conversation. And I'm going to get him angry. And it's not going to be on purpose, but I'm going to get him angry anyway.
Welcome to the big man.
We'll bounce around from a free agency standpoint where we think they're going to sign and where the best fit would be from a fantasy standpoint. Follow us on every place you can find a podcast at the Ball9 Network on ball9.com, our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at Fantasy Base Now. The X, as the MD Nelly account apparently is done forever with no resurrection. So the rebuild begins, and I'm not honestly rushing into it.
And by the way, this comment I'm going to leave up there. This is a cry for help from Long Island, New York. It's a cry for help.
Like we're all going to cry for help. You know what? Monday night is a good time to not bitch about having YouTube TV and ESPN being dropped.
No, the Raider resurrection begins on Monday.
The Raider resurrection begins.
Kelly will be coaching one of his final games. Geno Smith over under 2.5 interceptions. But we're going to find a way. We're a resilient group. Anyhow.
Resilient. You're going to need to be resilient. You're playing a
Anyhow, Jet fan. Oh, and a little later in the show, a little comment on the softest fan base in the history of sports now.
Breaking news. We interrupt this program.
Yeah, I just a few comments to my friends out in Twitter land who
Tariq Skubal has repeated as Cy Young Award winner and the best pitcher in baseball and the bane of Pirate fans everywhere because they don't know how long they're going to have him. Paul Skeens has won the National League Cy Young. So for those of you that thought Christopher Sanchez was going to win, fuck you. Paul Skeens is much better on a worse team. And now the Pirates are screwed. Now the Pirates are this is why I'm happy that he won. Because the Pirates are screwed. The Pirates said they're going to have some flexibility in the budget, and one of the folks I follow on Twitter who's a massive Pirate fan posted that, and I said, here's the Pirates being flexible. Andrew Chafin, 1 year, $3 million. Rowdy Tellez rebirth, 1 year, $6.5 million. And Alex Verdugo, 1 year, $7 million. And that's the Pirates being flexible with money this year. When we get to free agents, there are two guys on that list that the Pirates should sign. They're not going to, but they should.
Okay. First, before that, contemporary era Hall of Fame, and with that, we're bringing in the numbers guru,
the king of NEPTA.
The king of NEPTA, and quite frankly, they should do it.
The
not enough people talk about Not Guy Eddie. That's the next NEPTA.
What is up,
He's not wearing the full mustache.
No, it fell off too much, so I just dispensed with that. By the way, Mike, I heard you say "you people" earlier, and I just want to say, kind of like the sound of that.
Yeah, it's part of my everyday vernacular.
It is now.
You people. It's been part of my vernacular for a long time. It's like you people is one of my favorite. Like you people.
It's a good one. It's a good one. It's like kind of all purpose.
It is. You did. I did. I'm glad you did enjoy that. My son dropped me with a Chief bomb the other night.
Listen, consider yourself influenced.
Little shit.
Chief,
Your son, by the way, who found out very rudely this morning that don't offer me Duke basketball alumni in fantasy basketball trades because it's a non.
I told him that.
He told me
Sean will take Zion Williamson. Like, not a shot. He could be the MVP front runner, and Sean's not taking him.
I told him he could have cut him this morning, and I wouldn't pick him up under any circumstances, and just because he went to Duke.
It's a deal breaker, huh?
It's a non-starter.
Yep. Don't be emotional playing. Don't be emotional playing fantasy sports if you want to win, and now you know why you never win.
So, contemporary era Hall of Fame. I want to run through the how this works first. Okay, the big man in Massachusetts who is on here helped me with this today, and I looked it up. For those that don't know, 16-member committee. They vote on a ballot of the 8 finalists pictured. Separated, selected by historical overview committee. Nobody cares. The candidate needs 12 votes, 12 out of 16 to get on there. So,
who's the committee this year?
I have no idea.
I don't know if it's been announced.
Has it been announced yet? Because that's important.
They usually get a mix of, Hall of Fame players, managers, coaches, executives, sometimes writers, as opposed to the BBWAA ballot, which is entirely writers. The writers are typically still represented on the era committee, but it might just be like 2 of them out of 16.
Maybe it's the 2 that didn't vote for Cheater or Ichiro. Maybe it's those 2.
You never know. That would be a travesty, but you never know.
Maybe it's
and then you got to get 12 votes out of 14 because they're not going to vote for anybody.
Maybe one of the voters is a steroid guy that slipped in under the radar and is looking to right the wrong on a few of his cronies.
Maybe Jason Stark will be on there to talk some sense into people for once.
And so, the threshold for getting in is still 75%, but unlike the writer's ballot where you can vote for up to 10 players, the committee members can only vote for up to 3, I believe.
I think that's right. I think that's right. It doesn't say.
So there's definitely more of like a sort of gamesmanship aspect. And we don't really know what goes on in like the deliberation room, right? As opposed to the writer's ballot where everybody does their own research. They think about it. They vote their ballot. They mail it in. We don't know the extent to which these 16 guys get together and say, oh, I'll put this guy on my ballot if you put so-and-so on yours as one of your choices. It's just, there's not a lot of transparency, but you have to think that it would take some kind of coordinated effort to get multiple people in.
I picture it being like the presidential party nominations in the Lincoln era, right? Where it was just you're just running around trying to get consensus on. You're eliminating people, right? Well, yeah, we're not going to vote for this guy. He's not going to get in. So since that's true, almost like Pope, where you're trying to build consensus to try to get your guy, and if you're the right person, you can gain. And more importantly, if there's a couple of people that have ties to one of these players, it definitely gives them a better chance.
Yes. And, I think people like to imagine when Harold Baines got in, that Tony La Russa, who was on the panel and managed Harold for a long time, people imagine Tony La Russa twisting arms and, he's one of the winningest managers ever. He's a Hall of Famer himself. He's an influential guy in the game. and people feel like they don't see another path for Harold Baines getting 75% of the vote absent Tony La Russa making some deals and like applying pressure to people. We don't know if that in fact happened or the extent to which it happened, but
he promised people he would never fall asleep at a red light again.
By the way, thanks to Wrath of Rock for joining and giving us the. If you guys hadn't seen this comment, the committee will be announced
later this fall. It's 31 degrees in Philadelphia. It's not fall anymore.
No.
Right.
No, for the guy setting up Christmas inflatables and lights and stuff today, it's winter.
Yep, big time.
So, Mr. Nakayeti, here's my first question to you: of the guys on the list, other than the steroid guys who don't belong, who on there do you think should be in the Hall of Fame already and should? Because
wait, that can't. No, why don't they? They can't. You can't. That can't just slide. Why don't they belong?
They're out. They cheated the game. They know there's ramifications, and they did it. They willfully did it.
Is David Ortiz in the Hall of Fame?
He should not be.
I'm just wondering if he is or not.
Well, I didn't vote for him.
They're the two greatest players that they're two of the greatest players. Arguably, one is the greatest player that ever played, and the other one's a top 7 at worst pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball. And fucking the guy that allowed it to happen is in the Hall of Fame.
This is true, but
I didn't want this to be a steroid rant, but that asshole, Bud Selig, allowed it. He allowed it. And he's in the Hall of Fame.
And that clings to his historical numbers.
I can't do it. I'm not doing it. They should be in. We can move on.
Baseball clings to their historical numbers. That's the thing with baseball that separates it from all the other sports. And they've been skewed. They're out. Done.
I have a tremendous amount to say on this topic, in part because when I saw this ballot come out, I was delighted to realize that all 8 of these guys have been featured on NEPTA. And
a couple of them dominated Chaos Tuesday as have never been dominated before.
Yes. No, that's for sure. But, obviously I cannot take any sort of credit for the achievements of these players, but even to the extent I could take even 0.0001% of the credit for bringing these guys back into the conversation, it was really satisfying to see this slate of guys. Like, for instance, I've done almost 400 of these NEPTA posts, and Carlos Delgado was number 2.
Really?
December 28th of 2023. So coming up on almost 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, Carlos Delgado was an afterthought. He was a steroid era guy whose numbers were not as good as other steroid era guys, who was a one and done on the writer's ballot. And I don't think anybody thought about him getting like another sniff at the Hall of Fame anytime soon. But his the Carlos Delgado NEPTA post has like 612,000 views, and wow. I've been like a big advocate of his, and his OPS.
Is Jimmy Key still number 1?
Sorry,
is Jimmy Key still number 1?
Believe it or not, Jimmy Key doesn't have a NEPTA post yet.
Oh, that's right.
He was back in the "this man was underrated."
This man was underrated. He was in the he was the all underrated king. You have become the honorary president of the Blue Jays fan club.
I do the Blue Jays podcast a lot. Some of my favorite players happened to be Blue Jays at some point or another. Fred McGriff, Joe Carter, these guys that I advocate for, Delgado, Jimmy Key. They have a really great baseball culture up there, as you saw this postseason.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been I would say among the guys on the ballot, my greatest advocacy has been for who I believe are the 3 guys I would cast my ballot for, which are Dale Murphy, Don Mattingly, and Carlos Delgado. Those are the 3 that I would put on my ballot.
Let's hang on Delgado for just a minute, because Delgado was feared as a hitter.
Absolutely.
Like he was terrifying as a fan of an opposing team. It was terrifying when he came up. So let me just share because I can't help myself. So I'm just going to share something. So player B is a Hall of Famer, a current Hall of Famer, who played 18 years. Delgado played 16. So player B, 2,460 games, 10,000 and change plate appearances, 2,490 hits, 493 homers, 1,550 RBIs, a 284 average, 377 on base, 509 slugging, 886 OPS, 134 OPS plus, won a World Series, 5-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger. He's in the Hall of Fame.
I know who that is.
You know exactly who that is. Delgado, in 300, 2 less seasons, right? 300 less games, 2,000, 1,500 less plate appearances, 2,038 hits, 473 home runs, 1,512 RBIs, a 280 batting average, a 383 on base percentage, a 546 slugging percentage, a 929 OPS, and a 138 OPS plus. Same number of championships, only 2 All-Stars, 3 Silver Sluggers. Almost the exact same stats. If extrapolated over time if you extrapolate over the at-bats, almost the exact same stats as Fred McGriff.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how I make the case, right? So for me, like Carlos Delgado's an afterthought. He gets 1 vote. Like, geez, I never really considered sometimes you look at guys and it didn't look like a Hall of Famer to me, but then you get to compare them to guys that are already in, and it's not to discredit players that are already in. I'm not doing that at all. But if there's a benchmark that's set by players that are already in, and you can compare them to that, he compares almost identically to Fred McGriff. So that logic alone makes him deserving of being in the Hall of Fame.
His rate stats are insane, right? Like 929 OPS is, people consider OPS a lot more heavily today than they did when he was on the writer's ballot.
Sure
and
did.
Delgado has one of those careers where it's definitely viewed more favorably today than it was back then. As you mentioned, he only made 2 All-Star teams.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Jim Thome, some of these other like inner circle power guys didn't play a lot of All-Star games because it was just such a stacked position in such a stacked league. And I think
he played first base in the American League from 93 to 2009. That position was loaded.
Absolutely. And he finished with a higher OPS than Albert Pujols, a higher OPS than Ken Griffey Jr., more home runs than Vlad Guerrero, more home runs than Jeff Bagwell. One of the most mind-blowing Delgado stats to me is for his entire major league career, he averaged per 162 games 38 homers and 120 RBI.
That's crazy.
Whole career for 17 years, 38 homers and 120 ribbies per 162.
That's insane.
Completely insane. And he just had that like iconic violent swing. Like, do you guys remember seeing the clips from his 4-homer game? And he's like clobbering bombs off the glass in center field at Sky Dome, and it just like unbridled power. It was just so, I'd be shitting my pants if I was on the mound.
He was terrifying. He was terrifying.
He's like a left-handed Albert Bell with a good attitude. But same level of scary.
Yeah.
Mike, if you
so why did he only get 1 vote? So to me that makes it that like I didn't look at the ballot the year that he was on the ballot.
He got 3.8%. He got 3.8%, so more than 1 vote, but 1 ballot.
It's criminal.
Only on for 1 year. Didn't sniff 5%. Wow. Didn't see a second year on the ballot.
It's
Mike, if you had a vote, who would be your 3?
If I had a vote, and we won't get into the steroid thing. We won't get into it at all. Jeff Kent. I've been railing for Jeff Kent to be in the Hall of Fame since he was on the ballot. Dale Murphy and Don Mattingly.
Those would be my.
Don Mattingly's a harder stretch, honestly, and that's probably more emotional than anything else. Don Mattingly's a farther stretch than comparatively than Delgado.
Yes, It's definitely Mattingly is kind of a sentimental, remember his peak, like Yankee fan sentiment kind of vote. I don't know that he gets in. I think of the three guys that I named, Murphy and Delgado both have very realistic chances.
Yeah, I think Kent. I mean, Kent should be in now. He's not, but I love Delgado. I would go with Kent. You've been on the Dale Murphy train lately. What was he? 2 home runs away, really. If he had 400, he'd be in, right? Back-to-back MVP. And the reason I like Mattingly, by the way, he was the best player in what, a 4 or 5 year stretch. He was the best player in the game. Is that a fair comment given his offense and his fielding over at first base?
His fielding was unbelievable.
And I'm no Yankee fan, so there's no homerism here on this.
You're
He was
definitely
the best
not
player in
wrong.
baseball in the mid '80s.
And really, he didn't strike out a lot at all. Like, he was the MVP in '85, and he hit 48 doubles, 35 homers, drove in 145 runs, and only struck out 41 times.
Wow. You guys
You
read this
get a
comment.
pay cut in today's game because he didn't strike out 100 times.
Read this comment. It's very telling. From Wrath of Rock. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, 13 guys on that ballot ultimately got in.
Yeah, that's deep.
But you had to get the 5% to even see a second ballot. So that's how far he was pushed down by some of these other guys.
Yeah.
I do have one more really fun Delgado stat for you that may blow your mind. He played 17 seasons. He played with 3 different teams, right? Mostly with Toronto, 12 years with the Blue Jays, 4 with the Mets, just 1 with Florida. But he received top 10 MVP finishes with all 3 teams that he played for. For a guy that only made 2 All-Star games, only made 2 All-Star teams, but he had top 10 MVP finishes with 3 different franchises.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Because people in the game knew that he was elite, that he was great. He just wasn't winning like the popularity stuff because look who you're up against.
Right.
And he was playing for teams that mostly weren't winning, right? He joined the Blue Jays kind of after their back-to-back championships.
Any shot here for Sheffield and Valenzuela?
I mean, I think if you're going strictly based on numbers, right, steroids aside, it's obviously Bonds and Clemens. And then your third spot is a toss-up probably between like Delgado, Murphy, and Sheff, depending on what you value. Sheff's slash line was insane. He hit over 500 homers. Like, he clears on all this stuff. He was a power speed guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was a winner. I think if you're going strictly based on numbers, if a computer was going to crunch this and say who are the top 3 guys statistically, is Bonds, Clemens, Sheffield. But they all have that PED association. So depending on who is on the committee, if you have these purists who say, I did it without drugs, I'm not voting for guys that are affiliated with PEDs, you're going to have a trouble hitting those 12 votes out of 16.
Is he the only member of the 500 Homer Club not in the Hall of Fame?
No. Palmeiro.
Well, Palmeiro, that's right.
Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire.
Palmeiro, Sosa, McGwire. I forgot about those guys.
Yeah. So I mean,
so here's another fun one, right? So this Hall of Famer, and I'll get under your skin. This compiler, 3,255 hits, right, and 12,000, a little under 13,000 at bats. 1,917 RBIs, 110 steals, 287 average, 359 on base percentage, 476 slug, 836 OPS, 129 OPS plus. Won a World Series, was an All-Star 8 times, 3-time Gold Glove Award winner, which is, I forgot, and a 3-time Silver Slugger, compared to Sheff, who's 2,689 hits and 2,000 less plate appearances, 509 for homers, 1,678 for RBIs, 253 steals, a 292 batting average, a 393 on base percentage, a 514 slug, and 907 OPS, and a 140 OPS plus. Won a championship, 9-time All-Star, won a batting title, and won a Silver Slugger 5 times. And that's comparing him to Eddie Murray.
Yeah.
My all-time favorite compiler, Eddie
Thank
Murray.
you for saying compiler with Eddie Murray. I was trying to figure
No,
out who that
that's-
was.
That's
and I was
just
like, I
to
wonder
piss
if
my
that's Eddie
guy
Murray.
off. That's just that, like, that's my common dig whenever he posts whatever he posts. The Cy Young last week, he posted a stat about Cy Young, and I'm like, compiler with a question
Yeah.
mark.
I mean, in the most positive sense, right? He was pretty much as consistent as they come. They don't call him steady for nothing. I mean,
Yeah, that is true. Like he never
hit
never
over
led the league in
500 home
anything.
runs without ever hitting 35 in a season.
Yeah, like he never led the league in anything, but he was always great at everything.
And I believe he had a year, though, that he led the majors in batting average without winning a batting title because he didn't lead either league, and he was traded. Or no, because Willie McGee was traded like mid-season. There's a weird anomaly with that where Murray is not regarded as a batting champ. He led Major League Baseball in 1990 with a 330 average for the LA Dodgers, but didn't lead either league.
That's crazy.
He batted 330 with a 934 OPS. Finished fifth in MVP voting, won the Silver Slugger, did not earn a batting title because I'm pretty sure it was Willie McGee. I'm just like doing my research on the fly right here. But yeah, so 1990, McGee hit 335 for the Cardinals before he was traded to Oakland and hit 274 down the stretch with Oakland. So his average for the year was 324 across both leagues.
But he had enough at bats in the National League to qualify, obviously.
Yes. So just his 125 games in the NL, he hit 335, beat Murray by 5 points.
Hey, I got to bring this up since Mike's trying to tweak you. Where do you land on guys who wouldn't know a baseball glove from a lacrosse stick making the Hall of Fame, i.e. Edgar Martinez?
A DH, you mean?
Yes. I'm not talking about a guy that became a DH at 37. I'm talking about a guy who doesn't know what a baseball glove feels like on his hand.
Like David Ortiz.
It's it's interesting, right? The role exists and has existed since 1973, and it creates opportunities for guys to have careers that might not have had careers. Like, could you imagine a world where Edgar Martinez or Harold Baines, these guys with these like amazing swings and these productive hitters, had no careers because their knees went bad and they just didn't play at all, and we didn't even know who they were?
Frank Thomas played an incredible amount of DH because they had Konerko.
And he's one of the best pure right-handed hitters that we've ever seen. Thomas, 521 homers, 301 average. Big Papi, doubles machine, over 600 doubles, 541 homers. Just an absolute anchor of those Red Sox lineups. And these are guys that might not have had jobs otherwise.
But Frank Thomas was on Nugenics and Big Papi was on HGH. So there's a little bit of
she'll like it too. So it's fine.
Maybe Doug Flutie would have been like a Luis Ariz guy.
But, like Edgar Martinez, look at his stats. They're off the charts. And I don't think you should penalize a guy in terms of right. Like, it's like, are you good at your job? Like Mariano Rivera didn't throw 2,000 innings because his job was the ninth. And he was the best at his job in the history of the game. I think these guys who excel in the roles that they're asked to do deserve all the recognition and accolades.
Don't lobby for Herb Washington, Sean.
Well,
Don't be
was the
lobbying
best
for the
designated
the
runner
greatest and
history
only
of the
pinch
game.
runner, designated runner in Major League history.
But here's the thing: even though that
You
was
can make
his
a good point. You make a great point. If you're gonna discredit and say that DH only players or players that played the predominant amount of their career as DHs shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, then closer should get no consideration either. But the position is the position. There'll be a time when it won't be Paul Ossenmacher, but a Paul Ossenmacher type guy, like a specialist who was extraordinary at their job, will be on the ballot, and you'd be like, that guy got 5% because he was so dominant in his role while he was playing. Because that's the way the game has changed. The role is the role.
Think
right?
about
so you're the best at your role.
if you have a middle relief guy that comes into the game 75, 80 times a year and is locked down for 16 seasons,
Yeah.
and that's his role and he excels in it, why shouldn't he get his bronze plaque, right? Imagine a guy's got like a 1.6 ERA lifetime or something, and getting holds in the middle of the game is his whole shtick.
Yeah.
And he's great at it, and he does it for a decade and a half. Like, give him consideration. Maybe he, doesn't get 75% or whatever, but I think we should not penalize guys for doing what was asked of them. I mean, unlike Delgado, right? Delgado is looked at more favorably now because of rate stats and just what's valued today. There are other guys who are looked at less favorably today because of the jobs they were asked to do years ago. Joe Carter, Bill Buckner, Steve Garvey, they all, for being great hitters, had very low OBPs because they were told to drive in runs, and you have to put the ball in play to drive in runs. So they swung a lot, so they put a lot of balls in play, so they hit into a lot of outs. And nobody was ever telling them in the 1970s, 1980s, be afraid of making outs. Today, guys are told avoid outs before you worry about driving the ball. And so those guys were just doing what they were told, and they did it better than most people.
Yeah.
But folks who think baseball started in 2011 don't understand what the driving factors were. If you were like a mid-order bat in the 1980s, you were just supposed to see guys on base and find ways to change the number on the scoreboard.
Right.
By the way, just to interject real quick, that Skeens won unanimously. Sanchez was unanimous in second. Skubal got 26 out of 30 in the AL. Crochet got the other 4. First place, folks.
Skeens should have won unanimously.
Yeah.
I watched every one of his starts this year. I watched every single one of them. I'd interrupt my day when he was pitching during the day and watch Paul Skeens.
How many guys make you drop everything and do that,
Him. Right now, he's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys come like at bats, you want to stop and watch at bats for players, but pitchers, he's the only one that I'm going to watch because he's just that he's that it guy right now for me.
Yeah.
And you can say the same about Skubal, and you can say the same about Crochet. To be honest with you, you want to watch their starts.
Skubal was great to watch in the playoffs.
He was great.
Just an amazing pitcher.
He was great. So let's go back to Jeff Kent for just a minute, because I feel like he's a victim of himself, right? And this has always my issue with the baseball writers. Like if you weren't buddy with a guy, you're not getting in. You're not going to get as many votes because you said you wouldn't talk to him after a game or whatever. There's that emotion that goes with it. He had 2,461 hits. He had 377 homers. He drove in 1,500 runs. He had a 290 career batting average. He had a 500 career slugging percentage and an 855 OPS as a second baseman. First of all, that never happens, right? That's not a thing. He won an MVP. He won 4 Silver Sluggers. And statistically, with the exception of stolen bases, his hitting stats are better than Ryan Sandberg in every single category. And to me, Ryan Sandberg is the best second baseman I've watched in my lifetime. Complete second baseman. Like I saw Morgan, but not his entire career, and he was great. There's nothing I'm not going to take away from him at all. He's probably the second best second baseman that ever played. But Sandberg, like my dad was a Cub fan, so we watched the Cubs every time they were on. But Sandberg did everything right, and when it counted, he was really right. Like he had huge games. Plus, he was such a phenomenal fielder; it was terrifying. Like just an incredible defensive second baseman, and that counts. You know, Wrath of Rock noted Ozzie Smith or Brooks Robinson, who got in as much for their defense as their offense, and in Ozzie's case, probably more for his defense than his offense. And just Sandberg was just a completely great player. Kent offensively is a top 5 offensive second baseman in the history of baseball.
Easily.
He was close. He was close. He was close. And now he sits here. To me, that's the easiest conversation in the room for the 16 people that are going to have the conversation is that why the hell isn't Jeff Kent in the Hall of Fame already? Why are we even like, what are we talking about?
He's also one of only 3 players to be the all-time home run leader at their position and not be in the Hall of Fame. The others are Barry Bonds in left field and Albert Pujols at first base, who will be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. If he's not unanimous, there's another travesty.
Yeah. So Bonds, Pujols, and Kent are the only positional all-time home run leaders without plaques in Cooperstown. But, you know, obviously Kent did not have the glove of Sandberg or Morgan or the speed of either of them. You know, people joke he was a second baseman that hit like a first baseman, but he was also a second baseman that played second base like a first baseman.
He wasn't a great fielder.
You know,
he was not a great fielder.
From the NEPTA files on Jeff
He and
Kent,
I have the same number of Gold Gloves, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I expect nothing less. More hits than Jim Rice, more hits than Mickey Mantle, more hits than Sandberg, more doubles than Jeter, Tony Gwynn, or Rogers Hornsby, more home runs than Gil Hodges, Todd Helton, or Joe DiMaggio, more RBI than Mickey Mantle or Vlad Guerrero or Jim Rice. And he was doing this while playing middle infield.
Yeah.
The only second baseman ever with 6 consecutive 100 RBI seasons.
I don't even like that's why I'm so frustrated that he's at this point.
Yes.
Correct.
Because to me, I don't care. Like when the ballot was soft, that was when he should have got in. Like, I get it. You're not going to put him in over Junior Griffey. I get it. You're not going to put him in over Jeter. I get that. But when we're wondering if Mike Mussina is going to get in, and how many votes Clemens or Bonds or Sosa or McGuire are going to get, he's still sitting there with that level of statistical anomaly for a second baseman, right? And that prowess. And yet he's not. And yet the greatest sluggers at every position that aren't tainted by steroids or tainted by something are in. Yet he's not.
Yes. Among
Maybe
guys,
he should have put his locker at the other end of the locker room in San Francisco and not next to Bonds, so that neither of them were talking to the press and didn't get to spill over. He wasn't friendly to the press at all.
No. And, I think if he was the gregarious type that Big Papi was, or the fan favorite that Big Papi was, or just had that light up a room kind of attitude where the fans, the media, the teammates all have nice things to say about him, he might even be first ballot with those numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a strong argument that he should be.
And it's just, like you said earlier, probably a victim of his own conduct. And whether or not that's right, the thing I keep coming back to, and same with the steroid argument, it's complicated because the writers are specifically instructed to consider a player's character and integrity, but they receive no other guidance about what character or integrity look like or how to apply them or what counts for or against those things. It's a total free for all. So for some writers, steroid use is, well, that's a ding on their integrity, so I'm not going to vote for them. Others don't really care about that. And so they say that doesn't implicate their character. They're just trying to win. They're just competing, doing what they did. If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
They're trying to get paid.
Yeah. And so as long as they have this instruction to consider character and integrity, you're going to wind up with this nebulous sort of free-for-all about how to apply that in your own judgment. It does being a jerk to a reporter count against your character if you otherwise are not cheating or breaking rules or taking steroids or doing anything illegal? Some people will say yes. Some people will say, I don't care. It's not the Hall of Nice Guys. But as long as you have this instruction, you're going to make it tough to get that 75% just because you don't know how people are going to apply the character clause.
Right.
Yep.
And my single biggest grievance about the character clause is that while nobody hesitates to use it as a shield to keep bad guys out, you never see people use it as a sword to get good guys in and get good guys over the hump. Dale Murphy is a tremendous human being.
Yep.
He is one of baseball's great guys. And if we can use the character clause to keep Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds out of the Hall of Fame, why can't we use it to say Dale basically hit 400 homers and he won back-to-back MVPs and 5 straight Gold Gloves, and he dominated the National League in the 1980s. Like, let's put him in. He's also a great dude, and we have no reservations about what he's going to get up there and say at his induction weekend. He's a stellar guy who has nothing to hide.
And he won 5 straight Gold Gloves after converting from a catcher to center field.
It's unbelievable. It's really impressive.
I mean, Dalton Varsho did it. He hasn't won 5 straight Gold Gloves. He might, but he's not going to win back-to-back MVPs.
Nope. He's not going to win, multiple home run titles.
No.
He's not going to be an all-star 6 straight. He's not going to play 162 games in 3 straight or whatever it was. I mean, Murphy's peak was extraordinary, but people lose sight of that because they forget that it was a generally more depressed offensive area.
Yep.
He won his home run titles with totals in the 30s when guys now are hitting much more than that, 50, 60.
Right.
It's just.
Yeah, but like eras are eras, right? I mean, eras are eras. Like, I mean, winning home run titles and with home run totals in the 30s, that was the game at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know how you like. To me, you can't hold that against. To me, you can't hold that against them. It's like guys hitting 400 in the 20s because they were playing against plumbers and bricklayers, as many people.
What was the year Greg Nettles won the home run title in 76 or 7? It was like 31. Reggie Jackson won it, I think, with 32 and 73, maybe.
Yeah, I think Nettles hit 32 the year he won
32.
it. I mean,
there's a NEPTA candidate for you.
Who, Nettles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was one of the early ones. Yeah,
he was too.
He should be in the Hall of Fame. I'll say that.
Yeah, being Yankee captain should get you a couple of years on the ballot for sure.
He could hit for power. He won Gold Gloves. He was
without Greg Nettles, the Yankees don't win the 78 World Series.
No. The single greatest. I barely remember Brooks putting on that incredible display against the Reds, but I remember how many runs Greg Nettles saved in that World Series, and it was a lot.
It was a lot. And then one game. Guidry didn't have his best stuff, and Nettles bailed him out all night.
Yeah, the single greatest defensive World Series of any player I've ever seen.
Yep.
Still, 40 going on 40 years. Number 18.
Number 18. Nepta number 18. See, so he goes way back.
Yeah, Rat the Rock might have a war T-shirt.
All right. Well, Mr. Nakayetti, thanks for chiming in this week. I knew you'd be a great guest with this stuff. Your historical compilations are phenomenal.
Don't take credit for my idea.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me. I have a lot to say about these candidates because this is really sort of core to what I do out there is, try to lift up some of these guys that didn't get the respect at the time and bring them back into the conversation. And all 8 of these guys, whether they did steroids, whether they were overlooked for some other reason, even on Chaos Tuesday, there's at least a kernel of truth to the idea that not enough people talk about the achievements of these players. And so I think it's fair to consider all of them. And, I'm happy to jump on and talk NEPTA with you guys anytime.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. It's always great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bud. We're going to move on to free agency.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks. All right, good.
Appreciate it. That not Guy Eddie. If you don't follow him, you're an idiot.
And get the Ted Williams war shirt. Everybody loves
it.
That was a great photo.
It's one of the greatest shirts of all time.
I'm pretty proud of it.
You should be.
All right, I'll see you guys. Have a good night.
All right. Be good.
This is a tough one.
Tough to pivot from Not Guy Eddie. My God.
I know. It's almost impossible to pivot.
I remember the night I met him when I was with you guys at the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, and I didn't realize who was sitting at the table. I'm like, wait a minute. That's Not Guy Eddie sitting at my table. How awesome is that?
Yeah, he's a very interesting person. There's no question about it. I do hang over his head oftentimes that I could do a full reveal on him if I wanted to. So that kind of helped get him on here this week.
Okay.
I could get into his regular self instead of his alter ego, but I'm not going to do that to him ever. So now we transition from guys that we're talking about being overlooked to a bunch of guys that are going to get paid a boatload, in some cases, 2 boatloads of money. And we're going to look at it from a little bit different perspective. We're going to look at it from where we think they're going to sign or where they should sign, and then where they would sign that would give them the greatest fantasy value. And we'll start with Schwarber. I think he's going to sign, and I think he should stay in Philadelphia.
I agree with that. Why not? I mean, my God, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I can't think of another park that's suited for him besides Yankee Stadium. And the Yankees are not going to pay him, nor should they, because it wouldn't help them. He creates a little bit of a challenge as a DH only. He creates a little bit of a challenge as a 33-year-old player who's looking for 4 or 5 years. Where he would, I don't know if he would go anyplace else that he'd have greater fantasy value. Maybe the Cubs, maybe the Red Sox.
Yeah, I think the Cubs might be the only other destination for that. But again, I mean, it's worked out so well for him in Philly. Why would he leave?
Here's the scuttlebutt. He's a Cincinnati kid.
Okay, they could use him. I didn't know
they could absolutely use him. They could absolutely use him in that ballpark. He would crush balls in that ballpark. But
they're going to spend money?
That's the question.
I have them looking at Josh Naylor for later on in the list, but
he'd be a good fit there.
Yeah.
He'd be a good fit there. Bellinger, I have a feeling in my gut he's going to go to the Mets.
Bellinger's crazy to leave the Yankees. He's crazy.
Well, here's the up and down with Bellinger. He hit like 331 at Yankee Stadium last year. He hit 260 on the road. So if you're another team, you have to look at the same splits when he was with the Cubs and he had a good year.
Yep.
I mean, he's a really good defensive outfielder. He can transition to first base later in his contract because he is a good, really good fielder and very athletic. I'd like him to re-sign with the Yankees. I think he fills a number of needs and fits well there, and he did have a really good season. I just have a feeling, despite the fact that according to rumors that I saw this week, that the Mets lost $350 million this year.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying any of that bullshit from the MLB. That's posturing for the labor deal. That's all that is.
Look, when your team blows and people aren't showing up because they're pissed off that you spent all that money and you're underachieving, maybe their attendance wasn't what they wanted it to be. But yeah, I don't believe that they lost $350 million. That's just.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying those numbers coming out from the owners either.
But I feel like Cohen's going to take a run at him. I think staying with the Yankees is his best fantasy value.
Yeah. Because
he's already shown that he has great fantasy value with the Yankees. I don't know. I don't have any idea. Tucker's the one that's the wild card of wild cards.
Here's the thing with Tucker. I don't love the guy, and I don't know why. His numbers are off the charts every year.
When he plays.
I think he'll be a Dodger, but
yeah, you and me both.
You and me both.
Why not? We're going to fix our hitting woes by spending $400 million on a hitter.
Yeah. And every Japanese import, because why not? That's who they sign.
Exactly.
Although I think I'll pronounce the name Minataka Murakami. I think he becomes a Met, third base, first base. Help replace Alonso.
Yeah, I mean Ranger Suarez will not be a Philly. I think that the day that he hired Scott Boras as his agent, they decided that Andrew Painter will compete for a spot in the rotation. Wheeler's going to be back, according to medicals, sooner than they thought. They love Sanchez. They still have Nola. I mean, they could sign Taijuan Walker for dirt cheap. I mean, their rotation was this year. He's 30.
Okay.
I feel like he may be a Padre. They got a major starting pitching issue. And I think Cease is going to want more than him.
What about the Cubs?
I don't see him going.
Replacing Managa.
I see Cease going to the Cubs before I see them making a run at Ranger Suarez. And they're cheap.
Dylan Cease, by the way, is about to become the most overpaid guy in this class.
Who?
Dylan Cease.
I think Alonso is going to become the most overpaid guy in this class.
I like Alonso. I think the Mets should try and re-sign him, though I don't think they will. I think he's going to dent the Green Monster.
I think the Red Sox should go all in on him.
Yeah, I think that's where he's going.
I think the Red Sox should go all in. If they're going to make one single move, right? As much as Alex Bregman helped them this year, they're deep enough around the infield that they can make that work.
Yep.
The right-handed power is a thing that they need desperately with Story, and they got all those young kids. I think they should go all in on Alonso. I don't want him to as a Yankee fan, but that's where I think he's going to end up.
Yeah.
But here's the other sneaky one, because there's rumors out of the Beltway that the Nats are going to open up $100 million in payroll this year.
Okay.
$100 million.
But they're not ready to win. Does somebody want to win? Look, bottom line is you got to get paid. Would you rather go to Boston or Washington?
Well, if you're going to get paid this, if it's within 15%, you're going to go win.
Yeah, the Nats are going to have to overpay. They're in that spot.
The thing with Alonso is he doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave New York.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to leave New York. He's not a great fielding first baseman, not by any stretch of the imagination. He's just not a great fielding first baseman. But man, the guy can hit.
Yeah.
And going someplace where there's other first base options from time to time where he can slot in at DH. It makes sense. It makes a ton of sense. Before we came on, maybe it was when we first came on. There's two guys on this list that I think the Pirates should sign: Trent Grisham and Eugenio Suarez. They're not going to sign either of them because they're the Pirates. They're exactly what the Pirates need. They're exactly what the Pirates need. They need some pop on the infield. Suarez would take care of that. They need a better fielding center fielder, and they can move O'Neal Cruz to friggin' anywhere. Left field or right, and he won't butcher balls in center field.
Has Grisham turned down the Yankee offer?
I don't know.
I think he's crazy to turn that down. I thought the Yankees were nuts to give it to him.
He's an extraordinarily good defensive center fielder. And if he's somewhere in between, if he can be somewhere in between what he was this year and what he has been for his career, it's worth signing him. But that also, if they do sign him, that tells you they don't believe in Jason Dominguez.
Okay.
I think Bader's going to end up back in Philly on a low-cost deal, but maybe not. The Pirates haven't signed a multi-year free agent in over 10 years, and I can't remember who the last one was, but it's more like 15 or 17 years since they signed a multi-year free agent. And you got a friggin' unanimous Cy Young Award winner who's 23 years old and a really good pitching staff. And if you don't start and nobody goes to games, and if you don't start winning games, that elite 23-year-old pitcher is going to end up getting traded. And that city deserves a winning baseball team, or at least a team that looks like they give a shit. And right now they don't look like that. What do you think? What are your thoughts on Bregman?
He's a perfect fit in Boston until he got hurt. I said on this show, I thought he was the best free agent signing in the class last year. I think he's going to end up back there. I think they're going to have to pay him. And if he's not there, I think he's going to be a Met. Now they got Beatty. They got to figure out what to do with that.
They got Vientos, Beatty. No, Vientos isn't a great fielding.
Vientos, I mean, if they let Alonso go, Vientos can go to first if you think he's your guy. If you don't bring in Murakami, I think Bregman is proven, and I can't stand him because he's a cheater. But he's proven that he's a great veteran to add to your team. He's a great locker room guy. That's what he was in Boston. So he's worth it. I think the Mets could really, really use him.
Until I heard how far apart that the Tigers and Skubal were on their contract, I thought Bregman would go back to playing for AJ Hinch. I don't think they're going to spend the money.
They're crazy if they don't spend the money. Again, what are you in business for? What are you in this game for? The opportunity to compete doesn't come around that often.
Nope.
It doesn't. It's hard to do. So when the window was open, you got to go all in.
Yeah.
Same with Toronto. Bo Bichette. I think Bo Bichette goes back to Toronto, second baseman. So he can't kill you at shortstop anymore. I mean, for a guy that hadn't played in 6 weeks or 7 weeks, he looked good in the World Series.
Well, there's a million things with that, right? The sentiment of keeping him together and him and Vladdy being together for 5 or 6 or 7 more years. There's that. He's only 28. He's an awful defensive shortstop. Terrible. But based on the metrics, he was the worst
Yeah.
Starting shortstop in baseball this
Move
year.
him. Move him. Bury him at second, like they did in Little League with the
Yeah.
kids.
He might be buried. He may be buried at second place on the second base on the Dodgers, or he might be buried at second base on the Giants, who are going to spend a lot, and that's where I think Framber's going to end up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The two guys on this list that I think have the best chance of going to the Giants are Framber or Valdez, and if they don't think that Eldridge is ready, Josh Naylor.
Okay.
Do I see Naylor going back to Seattle?
Are they going to spend any money?
Well, he fits. So we talked about this on the last show. If they could find a way to fit Suarez and Naylor into $35 million, they're going to sign them both. They're going to re-sign them both. If they can find a way to fit them into $35 million, I think with Gino they can. I think Naylor's going to want a little more. So it might be a little tough for them. Seattle will be smart to re-sign them both because they need offense and their pitching is not a problem. But somebody on this list is going to be a Giant.
What about Zach Gallen there? It seems like a Giant move.
I think he's going to stay. I think they're going to pay him. Even though they're talking about trading Marte, which is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, that's crazy. The one guy not on this list, Edwin Diaz.
With the productivity at second base, it's also what he means to that clubhouse with all those young players.
In addition to the Dodgers probably signing every Japanese import in here because they all want to play with Shohei. I think Edwin Diaz is going to head out to LA.
That's great.
Yes, we do.
That is fantastic.
Yes, Rock. We do have to call him Zach Litre.
That's really good. That's really, really good. Yeah, I think Edwin Diaz in LA.
They have to do something with that bullpen. They can't rely on all their starters bailing them out.
Devin Williams, another candidate to be there. Texas, Arizona. Teams that were close that need a closer. I mean, Grisham would be a good fit in Kansas City. A little more productivity in the outfield, which is what they need. I mean, Cease would be a great fit in Kansas City at the top of that rotation to piss those people off and disappoint them every third start. Those nice people from Kansas City. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like Cease is going to end up being a Cub. Cincinnati's a big wild card. If they trade Hunter Green, which for the life of me, I still can't understand why that's even a conversation, but it is. Yep. Because they feel like the rest of their pitching staff is okay. Are they going to trade him for a big bat, or are they going to trade him for prospects and then his contract's not exorbitant. He's still young. I think he's still pre-arbitration.
Yeah, would the Yankees bring back Michael King?
I'd like him to.
Since Brian Cashman is not at the GM meetings in Las Vegas.
No, he was too busy being inducted into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame to do his job. Because you know him, he likes to hang around people that talk nice about him.
Sure.
Rather than do his job. They're going to need to sign somebody. They need to sign a starter. They need to. I hate to say it. It doesn't have to. I mean, they need to sign somebody that's going to get them through the middle of May. And if they go to a 6-man rotation and King's in it, then that's great because Schmidt's out forever. He's out for a long time. Heal's always 3 pitches away from an injury. He got a little Severino in him, unfortunately.
Yep.
Cole won't be back until May 1st. Rodon's out till the middle of May. And you got to add something to that rotation. Yeah, they have to add something to the rotation. They have to.
I wish I had it ready. I would have gotten Noah's violin to play while you were running.
Yeah. Apparently, the new translation, the new AI translation for Steinbrenner is "Don't spend money over the threshold." That's a new translation. He just does what he's being told. That's why he's never going to get fired.
Yep.
Because he's the yes man of all yes men. Yeah, I think the two on here that are the two on this list are the most intriguing to me is Tucker, because I'm interested to see what he's going to get paid.
Yeah.
And Alonso. The rest are going to go where they're going to go, and it's going to make a difference. It's going to make some kind of a difference to some team, or it's going to keep a team in a position at the end of the season that they're going to build on. But why Tucker's being talked about as such a higher number, than Bellinger when they're very similar players, and they're talking about how Tucker's younger. He's a year younger. It's not like he's 26.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not 29 is not old, but neither is 30 by any stretch of the imagination. But Tucker's probably been more consistent offensively throughout his career than Bellinger. Bellinger's had, when he's down, he's really down. But he hasn't been down for the last 2 years. The last 2 years, his productivity has been phenomenal.
They've been good. I think the interesting thing is it going to be a quick hit, quick start to this free agency, or is it going to drag out? Because you got a lockout looming.
Well, I think you got the
27.
You got the Japanese postings, so I think the Murakami and Ayanami or whatever that pitcher, like those postings are going to because the window's short on those. I mean, if Murakami posted on Friday, right, and it's only 30 days. I think it's only 30 days.
Okay.
So he's got to be. So his posting is his posting, and it's not just a matter of paying him. You got to pay their team too. So I think that those two dominoes drop, and maybe that it used to be like that 2 weeks before, like the middle of December, there'd be a rush. And some guys that sign before the first of the year, and then it ends up being February 1st before we see a lot of these other guys sign.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure teams are going to have the patience for it. And look, they can pay him whatever they want because they're not going to be paying him. The likelihood that they're paying him next year is pretty low.
Yeah.
You can sign it forever. I mean, if I was a player, I'd ask for it all deferred. Pay me starting in 28 when we start playing again.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how long the posting is. Like once they're posted. I did read it, but I don't remember how long it was. It's a shorter period of time than I thought. That's why there's this big rush to sign these guys when they get posted. But the posting is odd.
45 days per rock.
45 days, and you have to pay the team that posted them like X percent of their contract.
15%, I believe.
That's a lot. He's only 25 years old. He's 25 years old, and he won a triple crown. He won a triple crown in the Central League in 2022 when he was 23 years old. He'll be a Dodger. Max Muncy will be a Philly.
And he'll suck.
Because they can't stand Alec Bohm at all anymore. They're done with him. That's another place Bregman could land.
Philly?
He could land right in this fine city. These nice people that say nice things about you when you're doing things wrong. That might be the pivot if they don't sign Schwarber, though.
Yeah.
The city would revolt if they don't sign Schwarber. The city loves Kyle Schwarber.
He's Philly, y'all. He's got Philly written.
He is a Philly. He is that. He is always has been. He's been a blue collar guy. Every place he's played, they've loved him.
Yep.
They've absolutely loved him every place he's been because he's like a throwback. He's like a mini Babe Ruth. He doesn't look like he should be playing anything but beer league softball. Then he hits balls 500 feet. He can't feel a lick. He can't catch anything. He's just a terrible fielder. They've only tried him at 3 positions in his career, and he's been bad at all of them.
Yeah.
The Cubs couldn't get him out from behind a plate they couldn't wait.
Yep. He's consistent though.
Contracts less than $25 million is 20%. Holy crud.
Wow.
That's definitely part of it. That's definitely part of it. That's like tax brackets. That eliminates 25 teams from consideration right there.
Yeah, I would say the not Las Vegas Athletics will not be getting involved here.
I mean, 25 is 30. And you got teams that won't pay anybody $25 million, so they're not going to pay 30 if they got to pay 5 to the team that posted them like that. No, welcome to LA, sir. Welcome to LA. He could be a Giant. It's not like the Giants aren't willing to spend money. I mean, they've certainly taken a run at everybody in the last 3 years. Just pretty much as many players as the Blue Jays have.
Yeah.
I mean, they almost signed Arson Judge before he went back to the Yankees.
Just got to get someone to take their bag.
Yeah. I guess somebody that wants to live in San Francisco. And run a $3,500 a month apartment for $9,000.
Hey, oh, by the way, before I forget, and before we go, I have a message for the folks in Iowa, the new softest fan base out in Twitter universe.
Wow.
You talk about irrelevance in the major sport. I mean, Iowa football, okay, so they win 7 or 8 a year. Good for you. Good for you. The basketball. So, backstory, Nebraska and Iowa have a not so friendly back and forth on Twitter all the time. Mostly because we're great and they suck. So the Big Ten had a basketball thing. Whoa.
Here we go. There you go.
All I did the other night.
You really
didn't know that.
You're consistent. It didn't matter even if you knew it wouldn't have stopped you.
No, I'd still say it. So there was some tweet the other night showing Iowa's ranked like second to last in college basketball in the Big Ten. And all I said was, I didn't know Iowa had a college basketball program. They've won nothing. And the response from Iowa City, the best one was, I didn't realize you had a neck. I do have a neck. It's there. It's just not as pronounced. There's some other choice words coming at me from the folks from Iowa City. So when the Huskers roll your team the day after Thanksgiving, you're going to hear back from me. So
Look, it's been windy as shit in the United States for the last 2 weeks, and the windmills have increased bandwidth by 70% the last 2 weeks, so they're active.
oh yeah, it was funny. The
I'm
response.
mad they should have beat Oregon. They should have beat Oregon on Saturday. Sadly, they
They
didn't.
should have beaten Oregon. And look, here's the one thing with Iowa. I did interview Iowa running back legend Jordan Canzeri, Rose Bowl star. He's coaching here in Troy. He's an Iowa guy. Every time I see him, we bring up Iowa and Nebraska, and he handles it really well. And I love how they wave to the kids in the hospital. But beyond that, Iowa.
Nothing better than that.
Yeah. So anyway, now that I can say that, and I can hashtag them, and maybe they'll watch the show. We'll get some hits on this.
Yeah, well, we'll get some hits, all right. Somebody's gonna jam an ear of corn in your ear, and then you'll know it was a hit from Iowa.
Get over it, Iowa. You're not relevant. You never have been, and you probably never will be. It's like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Iowa football,
I know.
the cure for insomnia.
Well, I mean, that thrill of a city that's Lincoln. I'm still recovering. I'm recovering.
Lincoln was fantastic.
Well, Lincoln was
But
nice
I
to
can
you.
remember.
Lincoln was nice to you, but a bustling metropolis, I don't think I would describe it as that.
Yeah, no. When I told the people, "Hey, where's the red zone bar?" and they're like, "Oh my God, you better take a cab." I'm like, "My map says it's like 6 blocks." I'm like, "A cab?" Needed a cab home, but yeah.
Well, some nice Nebraskites were.
They helped me out.
They're nice enough to escort you.
I didn't know where the hell I was.
Oh no, they were clear to share that.
That was after they bought me about 82 shots.
I think the statement was your buddy Sean's in a way. That's what they in a way.
In a way.
Whatever
In a
that
way.
meant. But Dan and I were like, "What's in a way?" And then we
Then
2
you
hours
saw me.
later looked like you slept for
Okay.
a month. Like Rip Van Winkle emerged from his
Now we know what
comatose
in a
state.
way means.
Yeah, in a way. Oh, you got to learn the vernacular.
Yeah,
There you go. I got the trot out a big word tonight. That's good.
I walked into that bar and they're like, "Hey, for every 3 beers you drink, you get like 6 free chicken wings." I'm like, "Well, you better put more wings on because I'm having more than 3 beers." And then the shots of Southern Comfort started, and I didn't have to pay for any of it, and it was brutal.
Ugh, that just made me throw up in my mouth even hearing that.
Yeah. All right.
Next week, same bat time, same bat channel. We have no idea what the fuck we're going to talk about next week.
No clue.
But it'll be,
It almost certainly won't be Iowa football.
it will not be Iowa football.
All right. Well, on that note, hey, let's get some
Adios.
free agent signings.
Maybe we'll get something. Thanks, big man.
We'll hold our
Breath
breath.
of Rock, thanks for chiming in. Jimbo, thank you.
Yep. All
Todd,
right.
thanks for keeping us on the clock.
Nope.
Hi,
There he
Dennis.
is. There's Dennis. Makes his appearance.
As we're leaving, so we can't give him shit. But good
Yeah.
move.
All right.
Good move.
Wonder if he hosted Uncle Ted this week at the shop.
Yeah.
All right. We're
For a
out.
sausage festival, whatever that is.
All right. I
Out.
can't believe the big man made it the whole show.